Hi guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Look, I have my heart mug. Guess what? I made this myself. I don't even remember when, like a million years ago, when I was trying to spark my creativity. I went to one of those, what do you call it? Ceramic places. So anyway, look at my little, and then you know what I did? I actually copied, like somebody had this on a plate and I copied it. But anyway, I have it years later. I think I made it over 10 years ago, and it is kind of like sweet. It's kind of the one that I like to use a lot. So happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Hi, Kate. How are you? So you guys, this is the Revolutionary Love Q&A day again. So I've got a few questions that you guys have sent in, and what I'm really hoping, Kate, I'm talking to you since you're here. What I'm really hoping is that you guys will put some questions in the comments. I would love to hear some questions that you have and be able to jump in, especially on this lovely Valentine's Day, when we're talking about all things love and relationship and dating and the confusion we have and the fun we have and the gratitudes we have and just anything. So I'll be on just, I don't know, as long as I need to be on today. If I just answer these questions that you guys have sent me and you guys don't have anything else, great. We'll just say happy Valentine's Day to each other and have a little fun. If any of you want to just post something here about what you're grateful for or just say hi on Valentine's Day, we'll do that, okay? So let me just say super quick, I'm Barb Beck. If you're new here, I'm a 21-year relationship coach. My company is Revolutionary Love. Been doing this a lot of years, and I'm loving offering these live streams because I'm hearing from you guys that the teachings are really important. And a lot of you are private clients here. I take a handful of private clients a year, and a lot of you are private clients, and we get to talk about this weekly. But a lot of you aren't, and either haven't signed up yet, and I hope you will, or just simply can't afford the coaching fees right now, or whatever the situation is. Maybe you're looking for a workshop or something from me, which I've got some of these things coming this year. So if you're here, I'm just so thrilled that you're part of this group, and I'm so happy that you've committed to what I say in my tagline, doing this different. My tagline is, let's do this different. And if you're here and you're listening and you're passing these on to your friends, that means that you're being very aware and intentional about how you're showing up now and what you're doing in relationship, or as you're thinking about dating, or whatever place that you're in right now. So I'm going to kind of keep putting on my glasses. I really don't want to just jump in and talk right now. I want to see if any of you have questions. Hi, Mike. How are you? Hi, Tim. And I would love for you to just shoot a couple of comments. I'm going to look here and see. Is there just something you want to share today? Is there something? Hi, Annika. How are you? Is there something that that you want to just say that you're grateful for? Is there some thought that you've had as it's been Valentine's week? Is there a thought you've had about love or intimacy, something that you feel like you're really starting to understand, or maybe something that you're so damn confused about that you'd like to post a question here? I think today could just be fun. I have a feeling that this isn't going to be a long video. Like I said, I've got a few comments and questions sent in, but I would just love to hear from you guys. Do you have any thoughts rolling around on this day? Are you doing something fun for Valentine's Day? Are you single and doing what I did when I was single all those years and having a heck of a good time with a friend? We used to have such a great time giving each other cards and fun stuff and going out. By the way, got this really sweet card from Mr. Hathaway this morning. He's taking me to the coast tomorrow, but my suggestion for tonight was to go to Revolution Hall and watch the Blazer game. And he said yes. So that's what we're doing. We're going to go get a beer and a pizza and watch the Blazer game tonight at Revolution Hall. But tomorrow we're going to go to the coast for the night. So anybody have anything here before I jump into some of these questions? Let me look and see. Hi, Kat. How are you? Kat, do you have a question? I'm just pausing here for a moment to see if any of you have any questions or anything you even want to share about Valentine's Day, or maybe a fun dating experience, or maybe what you're doing with your spouse tonight, or anything like that. It would be really fun to hear. We would all like to hear it. Mike, what are you doing with your wife tonight? Okay, put these back on. Hi, Kat. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Hi, Chris. How are you? Chris, what are you doing with your spouse tonight? Annika said, love and allowing people to be who they are. Loving people in their difference, especially when it's different than what we would want. Yeah, definitely. So, Annika, is that something that you're just thinking a lot about right now? Is it something that you're working on? Is it something that's coming easily to you? Is it something that you're offering out there to people? What is the allowing about? So I'll kind of watch here for an answer. Kat, what about you? Thank you for the happy Valentine's Day. Mike, I'm going to call you back again. I don't know if he's here. What are you doing with your spouse tonight? All right, let me just, while I'm waiting for you guys to answer, I just had this Rumi quote that I love so much. There's so many of them that I love, but I wanted to read it. It says, your heart knows the way. Run in that direction. Isn't that just beautiful? Your heart knows the way. I believe that. And if we just run in that direction, the direction that our heart is calling us toward. I know, yay, thumbs up and hearts on that. If we do that, we really can't go wrong, can we? And I do have a question about from somebody about balancing our head and our heart. But right now, I think it's really, really important for us to think about this quote that says, your heart knows the way, run in that direction, because it is full of wisdom and guidance for us. So let me see. I know, Mike, I put you on the spot. Mike said, home and cooking HelloFresh for dinner and watching the Olympics. Yeah. And you turned us on to HelloFresh, so thanks for that. Hi, Sarah. How are you? Happy Valentine's Day. Hi, Eva. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for the hi. How are you all doing? Anything else you want to share? For any of you who just jumped on, I was just saying, I've got some questions that you sent. Is there anything else anybody wants to share? Just about how you're feeling on this Valentine's Day? Thank you for the happy Valentine's Day, Sarah. Anything you want to share about love? Even if it's not a question, do you want to share how you're feeling? Something you learned about love over the past few years? Something you learned the hard way? Something you're excited about love? Somebody who you're appreciating their love in your life right now? I've got so much love in my life. I am so deeply grateful for Brian and for this beautiful marriage that we have. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about that, because that certainly has not been the case in my life in the past, that I had a really, what I called a really high functioning, real, mature love relationship and marriage. And I want to talk to you more about what's different, what I'm doing different, what he's doing different. I want to give you some more glimpses of that. I want to check in and make sure he's okay with that, but I think he is. And I want to give you some more real snapshots of what it is that we're doing different and why it's really so sweet and tender, and there's so much ease and freedom, in our marriage. So I want to share more of that, so I'll just say that. Let me look and see what's going on. Annika, yeah, talk about that. I know, thank you. I've been really thinking about it. So I think I will. Maybe for March, what we'll do is sort of spotlight our marriage and talk to you about what we both are doing different to have this be a really deep, beautiful, respectful, trusting marriage, versus what I did different in the past that caused me a lot of pain and my partner's pain, what he did different in the past, and how we really have come to this place with a lot of really solid skills and tools, and it is making such a difference. And I myself, I'm just so damn grateful for it, because relationships are just our greatest source of joy and our greatest source of pain, aren't they? My Lord. So, okay, let's do that. Let's maybe spotlight the old Mr. Hathaway, Miss Beck relationship, marriage in March, and let's talk about that. Maybe you guys could ask some specific questions around that. Maybe we'll try to drag him on one more time again, okay? Hi, Eva. So Eva said, back at you, Mr. H. Thank you. I had an interesting meditation question on love as life versus life as love. It is a cool change of view. Nice. So it sounds like you have a question. I'm not sure what it is. Give me a little more specifics, Eva, on the question. Or maybe you're just saying you kind of had an aha and you want to share that. I'm not really sure there's a question. It sounds like you maybe had a change in view of something. Can you share that with us? Okay, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Let's see if Eva's going to share a little bit of that with us. Let's see if anybody else has jumped on here and saying anything. I really would like to know your questions. What did Kat say? I'm having a Galentine's Day with 3 beautiful ladies. Oh my God, I used to do that too. Fabulous. Hi, Susan Montgomery. How are you? Yeah, Eva said, no, just a thought. That's awesome. I want to hear more about that. Okay, I'm running around here. Kat, Galentine's Day. Awesome. That's so much fun. I used to do that a lot too, either with one friend or with a bunch of gals, and we had so much fun. So I hope that any of you, that are single or thinking, oh, wham, Valentine's Day, get out of that mindset. Go have fun. Focus on it being a day of love, and man, soak it in. And just know that I'm sending you so much love today, always, every day. But I'm sending it to you today on Valentine's Day. It's a special day, okay? Hi, Lander. Oh, my God, look who's here. My sweet girl from when I used to live in Houston. How are you doing, Lander? Happy Valentine's Day to you. Tell all your family hi. Tell your daddy hi. Okay, so shall we jump into a couple of questions, and then I'm gonna maybe answer one or two, and then I'm gonna look back here to see if you guys have any other questions. Lander? If you have a question, I want you to send it to me. Hi, Mr. H. How are you? There's the hubby on. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for the nice card. I already showed it to everybody. Okay, question 1. Let's jump into this one. How many chances do you give someone? My friends say I'm always giving it one more try with somebody that I'm dating. This is a great question, and I actually get asked this a lot when I'm working with people in that conscious dating workshop or the dating 101, or I'm working with somebody who's starting to really date different and they've got their requirements fleshed out, and then they come up against something that really doesn't feel okay, and they're like, well, I don't want to be somebody who doesn't allow somebody some space. Annika was talking before about that, allowing. Let me grab my tea here. I don't want to be somebody who's so rigid that I don't allow somebody some space or give somebody a chance. Okay? So let me answer that by just going to some basics right now. First, you've all heard me talk about requirements, right? Whether you want to call those values, requirements, a reflection of our character and how we show up in the world, the man we want to be, the woman we want to be, the things that we hold our feet to the fire around. If we're talking about those things, and when we're dating and talking about requirements, you've heard me say over and over, we only sort and screen through dating people using those requirements, using those deal breakers, our non-negotiables. That's not us being too picky or not giving somebody a chance or not allowing us to, have our human nature come out or requiring somebody to be perfect. It's not that. We're only talking, when I say requirements, we're talking about the non-negotiables, the deal breakers. And so if this question here is saying, how many chances do you give someone? For me, in my mind, if we're talking about a requirement, a deal breaker not being met, I don't want you to give more chances. If we're talking about, and it also depends on, what kind of relationship we're talking about. Let's be real extreme. Let me give you a bunch of different scenarios. If we're talking the first date and you find out that somebody has no problem talking to you really disrespectfully, why in the world would you be giving somebody a second chance? Why? That doesn't make any sense, does it? Okay, let's say I just had a client last month say she had been dating somebody, I think it was maybe the third or fourth date. Was fairly intrigued, was feeling kind of interested, was thinking that, as they were going along, it looked like her non-negotiables were being met. And then one wasn't. And it was a big deal. He had omitted something, not mentioned something about him and his life, and it seemed really, really weird to her that he had not said anything. And it didn't come up because he had told her. It came up in sort of a roundabout way in a different conversation, and suddenly it was like, oh, what did you say? And he shared some information that was a big deal. I mean, that really seemed like that would have been shared, if not on a first date, at least by a second date, and it wasn't. And she said to me, what do I do? Do I give him a chance? I don't want to be somebody who just cuts somebody loose. What I want you to watch, this woman right here who sent this question in, said, my friends say I'm always giving it one more try. Well, that right there is more important to me than even the question. That to me tells me that there's a problem, there's an issue. If your own friends are saying to you, hey, girlfriend, why the hell are you always giving somebody one more try, then that's what's to look at, right? You know that without asking me that. That means that for some reason, you either don't want to hold to your requirements, don't want to stop dating someone because you're afraid that nobody else will be out there, don't feel secure enough in who you are, that you can't say, I'm not doing that, and be able to set boundaries and tell somebody goodbye. That's the thing I would look at in this question here. But let's go back to my client who 3 or 4 dates in found out some information that was clearly omitted. And she was like, man, do I give it a try or not? What she did and what I encouraged her to do was just simply have a really honest conversation with him and not talk so much about the information that was omitted, but how it felt to have had him leave this really big piece of information out, and to be a really good listener, to really ask him why he had left it out. And to not ask that in a way of, why were you leaving that out with the big edge? I mean, really to be asking what was going on. That feels uncomfortable to me. It seems like that would have been something you would just naturally share in the first time I met you, or at least by the second date, and you didn't. And so I'm way more curious why you didn't share it. And then, for God's sakes, women, speaking about myself in the past too, be quiet. Be quiet and listen. We keep jumping in and it feels like, people feel like they're being grilled. You're going to hear a lot of information if you will genuinely ask a question and truly listen. So she heard some things that didn't sound great. She heard some things like, I was afraid that you'd be upset or not continue to date me. Okay, those are really big red flags. I think that right there's a good reason to not continue. But she also did truly hear some things that made a little bit of sense to her about saying, this was very personal. I don't normally like to share super personal, intimate things about myself until I'm, quite a few dates in, and I know that I'm going to keep dating someone. And some pieces of that made sense to her. And so I said, it's your call. If you've been really, really honest about what feels uncomfortable, and watch for that red flag around, if something gets uncomfortable, do you just simply not share it and hope that, it goes by? So, a few more dates went by, and then something else came up that, he wasn't really upfront around, didn't communicate well around. And so, she ended it. She was like, I don't need to keep giving somebody another try. It's a little bit different if you're in a marriage. I mean, if something's going on and you're in a marriage, you've been committed to somebody for 10 years in a relationship, do you give somebody another shot? I don't know. Are we talking about you found out that your spouse has had an affair? That's your call whether you give somebody another shot. That's a whole nother live stream. And I've done one on that, and I've written some blog posts on that, so you might want to look at that. A lot of people can repair and rebuild from an affair, and a lot of people say, I will not do that. The trust has been broken and I can't move forward. But in a committed relationship, we're giving somebody another shot because we've made this commitment to say, I'm in here for the long haul, and I want to use everything going on between us for my own personal growth and for the growth of our relationship. And hopefully you've got a partner who's doing that too. It's so important when you're talking about giving somebody another try, when they're breaking trust or not telling the truth or showing up in a way that really doesn't feel good to you. It's really important, all of you. This is what I want you to get out of this question. It is not as important the content of what you're talking about as you making absolutely sure that you are very authentically and truthfully and open-heartedly discussing what was behind either the withhold or the poor behavior or the disrespectful behavior or whatever it is that's going on. What is going on, and what behaviors can you agree to or make requests around for a behavior change request? And are they being honored? If somebody's just talking about something or breaking agreements and saying there's going to be change, but there's consistently not, do you want to be that person that just keeps giving somebody another try, another try, another try? It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? That's sort of a recipe for a lot of pain. Okay. Let's see what the next question is, but first let me see what's being said here. So Kate said, so lying is a non-negotiable for me. And with online dating, what do we do when lying about age on the site? That's a really good, I think I answered this once before in a live stream, Kate. It seemed like we were talking about that. I'm with you. Lying is just a deal breaker for me. That means lying in general, lying by omission, lying because it was just a little white lie. That's just a deal breaker for me. Great question about the online age thing. Here are my thoughts about that. I had someone say to me before that because I'm going to get this screwed up, okay, so just bear with me. It's not going to be completely accurate. It was either Match.com or some online site that she was on that only allowed you to ask for age, like an age range or something like that, okay? And she liked to date younger guys. She was a particular age and wanted this age range to be a certain way, and there wasn't a way for her to go on and do that. So she said to me, here's how I've decided to get around it. And it wasn't about lying. It was around trying to use this online site in the most effective way that she could. She posted her age, like just a few years, not like 10 years difference, a few years different than what it was. That allowed her then like a different range, like maybe another 10-year range or something like that. And then the very first time that someone connected with her and was interested in her and wanted to have a drink or a coffee date or whatever, then she immediately said to them, hey, I want to explain to you something. Here's my age and here's why I put it on there like this. So it was the very first thing out of her mouth. And while I don't think I would do that, I did understand what she was saying and it made sense to me. And I did say to her, okay, that does, in my mind, have to be the first thing out of your mouth. And so it was. For the most part, every guy said, oh, okay, all right, so thanks for telling me right away. I don't really have a problem with it. I can see that you were saying it wasn't really you lying. There was one guy who just said, lying is lying. I don't like that you did that, and I don't want to continue and have the date. And, you know, that was just kind of what she had to deal with. So I guess, Kate, I'm saying to you, how is I would look more at how is that line coming up? Is it, you know, a year or two off? And again, it's almost like what I said before. I'd be more interested myself in not so much did he lie about the age, you know, he was off by a couple years, or what was his reasoning for that? I'd be way more interested in, hi Steve, I'd be way more interested in why he said that he would lie about his age on a dating site. And I'd be really quiet and remain open-hearted. I mean, really see what was his explanation for that. And I would kind of go from that place. Otherwise, I'm with you. I'm just the girl who lying in any way, shape, or form just doesn't really work for me, and it's kind of a red flag. So, okay. Let's see if anybody's got any other questions. Steve said, hey, Barb, greetings from SoCal. I know. Hi, you guys. And you and I need to talk, Steve, so I'll get back to you. You're doing such great things down at your church in Southern California. I'm thrilled about that. Johanna just had this great workshop, which I should share on my Facebook page, so I'll remember to do that. And I'm just glad all of you are here. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, let's move on to the next question. These are great questions. Thanks, you guys. So one of you said, I believe love is a verb, that when we allow emotions to run riot, it is fickle. How do we deepen emotions while keeping our senses? So I think what you're saying there is, I believe love is a verb too. And it's way more important that we are acting with love, speaking with love, showing love, being, as you said, in action with love, versus just that we are saying, I love you, and our actions don't match up with that, okay? But what I think your question that you're saying here, that when we allow emotions to run riot, it's fickle. How do we deepen emotions while keeping our senses? I think that's the live stream that we did a few weeks ago on balancing, you know, our heart and our head, right? And that comes right back to me saying it's all about us being very, very intentional about our requirements and what we're looking for. It is so important in love, dating, relating, in marriage, in any relationship, to balance our heart and our head. Because either one of those, if we're using just one, is not going to give us the full information that we need. It is not going to inform us with every bit of information and wisdom and guidance that we need. If we simply listen to our feelings and our emotions, which absolutely we need to do, then many times, as you said, those emotions can be fickle. Sometimes we're just feeling extremely emotional because we've listened to a love song. Sometimes we can be in a great place in a relationship and feel very connected to our partner and listen to an old song on a CD that was our breakup song from a previous marriage, and suddenly be left in a place where we're going, oh my God, is it all worth it? Do I even want to be in this relationship? And you go, oh my God, what happened here? Nothing happened. We just had emotions run rampant, and it colored our thinking, and suddenly we're wondering about our current relationship. So we've had that happen. I know you guys have, driving in the car, listening to the radio. You have to be willing to feel your feelings, feel the emotions, allow them to inform you, and also balance that with your brain, with your thinking mind. Going, well, wait a minute. Is this real? Is this true? Is there truth in this? Am I making up a story? Have I just let some emotions take me down a path where I'm now running a story that isn't even true? It's so important that we balance the two. And so that's the practice that we sit with day in and day out, is balancing our head and our heart while always then leading with love in terms of our actions, okay? We can be loving and be setting a boundary, because setting a boundary is one of the most loving acts that we can do. I know, it got a heart on that. Does that make sense to you? Do you guys understand that? Always we can lead with love and have that inform our actions. But when we're making decisions, we use our wise discernment, and that means we're using our heart and our feelings and our emotions, and we're using our brain and our thinking mind, and we're making sure that we're self-reflecting and checking ourselves and watching any stories that we're running. So we're balancing both, and always leading with love and having love be reflected in our actions. Okay? All right. Let me see if I have any other questions before I jump into the one that was sent in. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Do I have to fully love myself, which is what I'm always hearing, before I can be in a relationship and love another? This is such a good question, and it's confusing. What we hear out there all the time, you've probably heard me say it sometimes, is we've got to keep working on our self-love, because it's going to be very, very hard to love somebody else if we can't even really love ourselves. If we don't feel good about ourselves, if we have tons of negative self-talk always going on in our own minds, it's going to be very, very challenging then to be very loving, very open-minded, very open-hearted to someone else that we want to be in a relationship with. I mean, that just makes sense, doesn't it? But I think what the question, what she's asking is, I do think that we have a way, all of us, I know I've fallen into this, of thinking that there's some place we need to get to in our work, in our healing, in our, all of the stuff that anybody here, if you guys are here, you are people that are committed to personal growth work and spiritual growth work. I mean, that's just a given. I think there's a place that we all get to where we think, I gotta be here before I can something. And one of those things is, if you're single, I need to really love myself more. I need to be more fully present with myself. I need to treat myself, better. I need to never hear any negative thought in my mind. I need to not be so hard on myself. I need to heal these wounds and these triggers. I need to be in a different place myself before I'll ever be able to be in a good, healthy relationship, or before I'll ever attract somebody into my life, before I'll ever be able to give love to somebody else. Here's how I'm going to answer that. No, that's not true. God. Look at our world. So this isn't really the great news. Look at our world. We have people out there in all kinds of relationships that are very, very dysfunctional relationships and that are in pain. So I'm just simply saying, obviously we know that you don't have to have done all kinds of healing work to be in a relationship. But what I'm going to assume is that you're asking, to be in a good, healthy relationship, do I need to do this self-love work first? I truly and deeply feel that if you are committed to doing your work, if you are committed to things like a daily practice that helps you check in and really be able to self-reflect and take 100% responsibility for who you are and what's going on in your life. If you are able to do this kind of work and are committed to growth, then you are growing and changing and healing. You are. Because we can't have that intention and be reading these books and listening to these live streams and going to church services or taking walks in nature and self-reflecting or whatever it is that you are doing that helps you grow and heal and listen to your own inner wisdom and guidance and not be growing and changing. And so right there, we want to applaud yourself and say, yay. That doesn't mean that you can't be in a love relationship. It simply means, and hear me say this and make this distinction, it simply means that depending where you are, and only you know where you are, it's not for somebody else to assess. If you're really confused, then yeah, that's why you hire a coach like me, or you check out some therapy, or do whatever if you really are confused or need some clarity. But you know where you are on your healing path and where you are in terms of being able to really have some skills and tools to be in a good, healthy relationship. You do not have to wait until you feel like you've reached some point where you now can be a perfect partner. That's never going to happen. I'm in a beautiful marriage. I have a marriage and a relationship with someone that is different than anything I have ever had in my life before. And I am not a perfect partner, and neither is Brian. There are things that we do that now and then we have to say, oh man, I'm getting really triggered by what you're saying. Or, oh, you know what? That was so weird. I was kind of short right there, wasn't I? I'm so sorry. But here's what I will say about what kind of work do we need to do? What kind of self-love work do we need to do before we go out there and start dating again, or before we can be in a relationship? Understand that the amount of work that we do on ourselves will have a direct reflection on the quality of the relationship that we have. Does that make sense, you guys? Give me a heart or a thumbs up. The amount of work that we're doing on ourselves and the commitment that we have to the work we're doing and the healing work and to really challenging ourselves to grow and to stretch will directly affect the quality of that relationship that you will have. It will directly affect how much ease you have in a relationship, or whether you create drama again very easily, or whether you tolerate quickly things you shouldn't tolerate, or whether you settle for something that you shouldn't settle for. If you don't have the skills of boundary setting, you can be in a relationship, but you already know that there'll probably be some toxicity or some turmoil or some pain if you can't say no or set a boundary when it comes up and you really need to. So the answer, I guess, is, do you have to have done this great self-love work and love yourself and have healed your wounds and be in this perfect place to be in a relationship? No. But do you need to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and hold them to the fire around that work so that you keep having a positive influence on this relationship that you have or on a dating relationship that you want and bring more health and vibrancy to it? Yes, absolutely. That is in your hands. And the healthier you are and the better that you personally show up, the more of a positive influence you're going to have, and the more ease you will have, and the more freedom and the more fun you will have. So there's just that, it makes sense. There's that direct correlation. The healthier I am, the healthier of the relationship that I have. Or the quicker that I see that I don't want to have this relationship or I don't want to continue dating. We're able to assess better, Okay, does that make sense? Great. So let me look and see if there's any questions with all that I've been saying. Hi, Kim, how are you? Hi, Diane, how are you? You guys should have some questions for me. Diane, you don't have a question on this Valentine's Day? Or at least just a comment about all of this love learning that you've done and been working so hard on? My gosh, star client there. Lord. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Anybody have a question? Anybody have a question about the questions that I've been answering? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I've got one more question. Okay, so if you guys don't have another question or a comment you want to put here, I'm going to read the last question that I have. Let's see what it is. So this person sent in a question that says, how does a couple get back to that lovely honeymoon phase? Oh, gosh. Here's the good news and bad news, you guys. You never will. Yeah, I really do mean that. If you're in a place in a relationship, or if you've been dating somebody for quite a long time and you're noticing things are changing, if you're in a marriage and you're looking and things are tough and they don't feel good and all you can do is think about that first year that you were together, that honeymoon phase, that phase when you just felt passionate about each other and you were so madly in love and you had a great physical relationship and everything felt so great and you are longing to find a way to get back to that in your relationship with your spouse or within your relationship with your partner, or you've been dating for 6 months and it's starting to change and you're longing to get back to that, hear me say, you are not ever going to do that. And before I explain why, I want to see, somebody's making a comment and I want to see if there's a comment here about this. Steve said, yeah, but isn't there something on the other side of that phase that is so much richer and deeper and more fulfilling? Well, Steve, I don't need to actually finish this live stream. You finished it for me. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yes, there can be. So let me play this out. The first thing that is so sad to me, like that this person can send this question, and I used to believe this. My mother taught me this. That feeling, that honeymoon phase was how you knew that you had found the right person, the perfect person for you. My mom told me there was one perfect person out there for me. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Donnelly. And that I would know, because when I felt that lust and infatuation and all of those things that all of us here have felt more than once with other people, that was the sure sign that I had met my person, my soulmate, my person. And that then I would feel that for the rest of my life. My Lord, I can't even believe my mom told me that. I can't even believe it. And there was a period there I was pissed off that she told me that, and I'd bought into that and believed that. Okay? So most of us, if we weren't told that, most of us were taught, and you will hear day in and day out right now on the TV, on the radio, from all kinds of places in our world, that is what love is. Love is that passion, that high, that intensity, that fun. And if you suddenly aren't feeling it, or you or your partner or your spouse are not feeling it, man, you need to do things and read this book and try this thing and buy this sex toy and do all of these things to get that back. And I'm telling you what, that's not your goal, people. That's not real mature love. That initial phase is a physical thing that is supposed to happen to bring people together. It's an attraction phase. It's for procreation. We all know this. There's a part of us that knows this, but we love that kind of love story thing where we're supposed to fall in love and have passion and high and have great sex and it's supposed to last forever. If you can really get your head around the fact that it is not supposed to last forever, and it doesn't. It doesn't. It's common for that to last for maybe about 2 years. It's very common for that to start to change about 6 months in. If you can start to understand and accept and not have that be the bad news, but feel excited about the fact that if you want to be in a long-term relationship and really have what Steve just said, a deep, rich, and fulfilling, intimate connection with a partner, that means you should be looking forward to moving through every phase that you're moving forward through. And that means moving through that sort of infatuation, lust, fun, passionate phase of new beginnings, and not being scared when you notice that starting to die down, calm down, and sort of start to dissolve. That should be a great, exciting sign for you that you go, oh my gosh, we're moving into a different phase now. We're moving in to the next phase. There's 4 stages of intimacy. We're moving into this next phase where instead of looking at our similarities, which we do in that first phase where we just look and see that we are just alike. You like this, I like this. You love to do this, I love to do this. You want to be with me every minute, I want to be with you every minute. In that initial phase, all we see are our similarities. We are clouded by love and it feels good and exciting. And I remember that with Brian. We're not in that place now. We do not just see our similarities. And the shift from that first phase of intimacy into the second phase is where we start to actually see that we are different. We start to look and go, okay, so we're similar in these ways and we think the same about these things, but you know what? We don't think the same about these things. I don't like that. I don't believe in the same way that you do about that. And that second phase is where a lot of people have been taught, sadly, or just simply don't understand that that is not an immediate sign of, uh-oh, things aren't working. I think I'm, ready for this? Falling out of love. You've heard me talk about before that we don't do that. We don't just fall in and out of love. But it gets interpreted as, I think I'm falling out of love. Ooh, boy, maybe I better end it. Maybe this isn't the right relationship for me. Maybe we're not compatible. I think I'm falling out of love. And then we end it, and then we go back, and we start the cycle again. Sometimes it's because we simply do not have the information that I'm giving you right now that this is supposed to happen. And sometimes it's because people get really addicted to that high that comes from being in that love and lust and newness and going, oh my God, but I love that part. I love that newness and that fun and sex with a new person and, not knowing what they're going to do or say and all of that. And they get addicted to that and they get hooked into that loop of, as soon as it starts to die out and we move into a different stage of intimacy, which we could start to deepen a more real, true, richer, deeper intimacy where we start to base it on true love and truly getting to know each other and honoring differences and enjoying, that we are two very different people and using everything that comes up between us for our growth. And that's a beautiful thing. People will bail out of that and go back to the high. Okay? Does that make sense? I want to see if any of you have any questions about that because this is such an important thing to learn. Hi, Johanna. Hi, Candace. Let's see what Johanna says. The passionate, infatuated phase doesn't necessarily allow for other areas of life to get appropriate tension, at least in my experience. I agree with you, Johanna. Absolutely. He didn't want to work through to the deeper stuff. Yeah. And again, I don't want to just get hard on people who do that very quick bailing, or maybe do a bailing, several years into a marriage. Sometimes it is that somebody just bails or flees or doesn't want to do work or all that kind of stuff. Maybe that's true. But I don't want to just get hard on people. It breaks my heart. And I mean that. Look at me. I was specifically told something different. I believed it. I spent all through my 20s and deep into my 30s before my rock bottom crash thinking that it was true, that it was a real legitimate sign that something was wrong with our relationship, and that we were falling out of love, and that, we should either make this work or get this passion back or the infatuation back, or that we should get out of the marriage. And so I have such compassion for myself, what I went through. And I have such compassion for any of you here that have been confused about that. And I'm asking you to really offer some good compassion out there for people you've been with that have fled or bailed quickly or hurt you in that way. Or if you've been that person to do that, or for your friends that you're watching do this loop over and over. Yes, you can offer with an open heart some real information and genuine teaching around this to your friends. You can offer what you're learning here. You can offer your understanding now about there being different stages of intimacy. But please offer a little bit of compassion too, because a lot of people aren't just unconscious bailing out of relationships. A lot of people truly are hitting this place of feeling what the third stage is emptiness, and really going, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this. It must mean something, like we're not compatible or we've fallen out of love, and I don't want to be in that kind of thing forever. So please have compassion and offer what you've learned here to other people, and have them learn more about what real love, mature love, and true intimacy really calls for. And the first thing it calls for, this question was, how do we get back to that honeymoon phase? The first thing it calls for is having a true understanding that that is not a place we're supposed to stay in, and it's not a place we can stay in. That's not the goal. Okay. Whew, that's some big stuff on a Valentine's Day to say we're not going to stay with love and infatuation and passion and intensity and all that crazy love stuff that feels so fun and good on a Valentine's Day. But I will tell you this. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you, whatever you're doing. Let's actually put our focus today on love. Love as a verb, as my client had said to me and asked about today. Love as an action. And let's take that out today. Sorry. Into the world in a bigger way. Quoting Rumi again, your heart knows the way. Run in that direction. Let's run in that direction today and create more love in action out there today, okay? Happy Valentine's Day and love to all of you.